Let's talk Utah Jazz because I think Austin Reaves is one of the really important conversations of the offseason. And I was told today that the Jazz are interested in Austin Reaves. Now, I'd remind you that Austin Reaves is a restricted free agent. What's the matter?
No, I mean...
What was that about?
The Jazz, yeah.
What was that about?
Anytime I hear the word restricted free agent...
Yes.
You know what this is going to be, dude.
Gordon Hayward all over again.
Gordon Hayward, DeAndre Ayton, what should have been Jordan Clarkson.
Okay.
I mean,
was that necessary? Was that really necessary?
How many times do we need to talk about the Delta Center, right? And all the great things happening with the organization before we start talking about Jordan Clarkson and the TV deal and these different things? I look at NBA free agency. Austin Reaves is a top commodity in the entire league. That is somebody that you can go and get, in my opinion. The problem is you're going to need to overpay for him because they're going to match the offer sheet because they want him. That's the problem with Austin Reaves.
I think Austin Reaves is a hell of a basketball player. The Lakers are not going to let him go. The problem is somebody like Danny Ainge, who's got all the money in the world and all the draft assets in the world, can make an offer that Austin Reaves can't refuse. And I don't think the Jazz will do that. Austin Reaves is not the cherry on top of the Jazz cake, right?
No. Nope.
I think that the Lakers will bring him back. There's almost no question about that. But let's make something very clear. The Utah Jazz need a leader and a point guard like Austin Reaves. If you look at all the up-and-coming teams, their either biggest need or their biggest asset is their point guard. And you look at teams like OKC, SGA is one of their biggest assets. What's one of their biggest problems? Lou Dort. All right? Lou Dort's a problem for them. You've got Chet. You've got Jalen. Like, you have all these great assets. You don't have a true number one ball handler who can help SGA be better.
Yeah.
Right? I look at the New York Knicks. What's their biggest asset? Jalen Brunson. Right? I mean, there's no question about it. You look at teams across this league, you either have a point guard or you don't. Mm-hmm. The Phoenix Suns have Chris Paul. That's a big problem for them. And they're going to pick up his $30 million option. They've already told him that. That's a problem. That is a huge problem. So you look at the stuff and you look at the way that a team like the Jazz is going to build their roster. They have a centerpiece in Lauri Markkanen. I personally believe their second biggest need is not point guard. I think it's power forward. But there's no doubt this team needs to add 2 point guards, a starting point guard and a real number 2. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about a Cameron Payne. I'm talking about a number 1 go-get-him point guard. But you look at the LA Lakers, the Lakers have 3 of them. And it's a liability, not an asset. Because Dennis Schroeder's not a number 1. D'Angelo Russell probably wants $100 million.
Not probably. That they're saying he asked for 4 years and $100 million.
$25 million a year. That's
bread,
a tough
dude.
number to. That's a tough number to bring back, right? So I think it's really gonna be dependent on what Danny Ainge wants to do and how he wants to build. What's the matter?
Jeremy's comment about withdrawals.
Oh, I'm not allowed to use the Tanner voice anymore.
Yeah, we're forbidden on that. So.
Super Soaker says it upset him, so we don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at the Jazz, I think it's one of those things where you have to figure out how to build this roster. I think you have wonderful pieces in place. Obviously with Ochai Agbaji, obviously with Lauri Markkanen. I mean, Walker Kessler, like, you have good, strong depth. But I think if you look at the 2 guys on this team are clearly Lauri Markkanen and Walker Kessler.
Yes.
Those are your two foundational pieces.
Yep.
And I'm of the belief that Walker Kessler can be a 4 or 5 guy. Now, he's got to learn to shoot the ball, but I think he's shown you that he's willing to do that.
You think he can ever be All-NBA? Do you think he can get that good? Because I think if you're Danny Ainge, that's what you have to look at. I mean, just how good can Walker Kessler be? How, like, what is the absolute best of the best, and then what is likely? I think he is likely to turn into an all-star. I think he is, because I think he's got the right attitude to improve, you know, and I think we saw a lot of leaps in improvement over his rookie season. So I have a little more confidence that maybe he's able to add, I would hope a jumper over the summer, but a skill. Because that's all it is in the NBA. And I hope people realize this. Every single summer, you got to bring something back in your bag. You got to have a better this, a better that. I mean, Donovan Mitchell added all this range before he went to Cleveland, Well, for Walker Kessler, just come back with a jumper of some variety, something that you can rely on.
Who is your... I don't even know who your number one target would be. I mean, if I'm the Jazz, I think I'm probably trying to draft a power forward. But I mean, I think there's a lot of value in a guy. There's a lot of free agents out there. Guys like Christian Wood.
Yeah,
I'm a huge believer in Christian Wood. Used in the right situation, Christian Wood can be a really nice contributor. But I think you've got to go and find a badass power forward and a point guard. And I think there's every chance in the world that you do that through the draft. But, I look at the Lakers situation. I also think there's a huge problem with Kyrie Irving. America's favorite anti-Semite should not be on the Lakers. I think you've done... What?
You can't just say that and not laugh, dude. America's favorite anti-Semite.
It's the truth.
Dude.
Kyrie's a guy that you should exclude.
Yeah.
If you're Rob Pelinka, that should be your no-no zone. Because I think when you look at Kyrie Irving and this whole thing, don't disrespect me on social media, or what? Kyrie Irving today said, don't talk about me on social media. Or what? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Nothing. You're a pain in the ass. You're a part-time player. You are a powder keg waiting to explode.
Mm-hmm.
You're expensive. And I just don't think you're a championship player anymore.
Yeah.
I think at one time you were, and you're off the reservation. I'm not interested in Kyrie Irving. I am truly not. And if it is true that Joel Embiid is available in Philadelphia, I'm happy to make a trade. If I'm the Lakers, I'm absolutely in on Joel Embiid. If I'm the Boston Celtics, please take Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart, and let's make that the groundwork for a Joel Embiid trade.
Yeah.
And let's figure it out.
Yeah.
If I'm the Lakers, hey, please, tell me what you want. Let's make a Joel Embiid trade. You want Anthony Davis? Happy to do it.
I want it.
I just need Joel to play 70 games a year. And I honestly, I just need him to be the centerpiece of my franchise.
You can go get Reaves back. LeBron comes back with a happy foot. We're good to go.
Yeah, how about the story that LeBron James has a torn ligament still in that right foot? He's old, he's done, he's broken down. Well, he put up a 40-point triple-double essentially in the last game of the season with a torn ligament in his right foot.
So 40 points on one foot. Okay.
And I know you're going to bring it up, so let's talk about this NBA flopping rule.
Yeah.
I love this. It's already in college basketball. According to some, and I'm hoping it happens, they are going to test fly the flopping technical foul in the NBA Summer League.
Yes.
And usually when they do that, it's almost a done deal to put it into the regular season.
Yep. You pilot something in Summer League, it's probably going to happen.
Do you like it?
I do like it a lot. I think the league needs it. I hate that Adam Silver came out and said, I think it was yesterday, might have been today, that he felt like the NBA was too physical in the 90s. I disagree. I think that there was a very fine line, and I will die on the hill of I would rather have that product than what we have today. I would love today's athletes with that level of physicality because I think that you can tone the physicality back, right? If the game is too physical and I got to whistle the game down, okay, great. We can do that. But in my opinion, it's much more difficult to tone the whistle back when there's a precedent being set for flopping and hey, we're constantly, complaining to the official and constantly berating officials. It dilutes the game. It changes the game.
I am telling you now that these flagrant foul calls, they're not flagrant fouls.
No.
And I'm tired of the flopping, and I'm tired of the inability. What happened to no free layups? What happened to, fine, if you don't want physical play, I am going to break his forearm swiping at the basketball. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I was watching the Reggie Miller buzzer beater against the Bulls in '98.
Yeah.
Today's the 25th anniversary of it.
Wild.
Those things never happen. Now, is it true that Bill Laimbeer and the Pistons and the Jordan rules was too much? It was. You're talking about the greatest player in the history of the game, and their whole plan was to physically beat him down.
But isn't that part of why he's the greatest player in the game?
It is the only reason that the Bulls dynasty happened. It is the only reason. Because Michael Jordan only became Michael Jordan physically because he knew they were coming for that ass. And him and a guy named Tim Grover, the renowned trainer, built his body. And Michael Jordan has talked about the fact that he had to change himself as a basketball player. He had to relearn certain parts of his game because he put on muscle and grew in strength to the point where it affected the way he played basketball.
Do you even lift?
He never becomes the greatest player ever if the Pistons don't exist. Michael Jordan never happens if the physicality of the 80s and 90s never existed.
Mm-hmm.
He just never becomes that guy.
And so what I'm saying is I'd love the league to find a happy medium. Now, the league's never going to trend back to what we saw then, but I would love no free layups to be a thing. I would love for the flagrant one to not be used as liberally as it is now. I would love it to be reserved for the Grayson Allen, Alex Caruso incident, or, any of these non-basketball plays. Because fouling a guy hard, in my opinion, is a basketball play, but there's a fine line. If you undercut a guy, if you undercut a guy, that's a flagrant foul.
If you're going to push a guy in the back when he's in the air, that's a flagrant foul.
Yeah.
If you happen to break the skin slapping his forearm while the ball is in that motion and you're on your way down and you miss the ball and you hit his arm, hey, that's basketball, man.
You were going for the ball.
And this thing where they're calling flagrant fouls because you got in a guy's landing zone, absolutely the right call. You have to protect jump shooters in this league. It's the identity of basketball now.
Yeah.
But the flopping but again, the other thing I say about this, legislate illegal screens out of the game then. Legislate them out because there's usually 100 of them a game, minimum. And they call like 2 of them. And you're like, well, what about the other 98?
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't help us with the outcome.
And I see all your comments about hand checking. I agree hand checking should be allowed. I think that the way they whistle defense, I don't love it. I think that there are a lot of times where especially on the perimeter, one-on-one, that's what NBA fans are paying for, right?
Yeah.
You're paying for Durant versus Jimmy Butler, or like your favorite player versus the other team's best player. And I don't want some candy-ass whistle on a play that just frankly shouldn't be a whistle. Like, yeah. I feel like it's too much to expect officials nowadays to find that line. Everything has to be on paper as to what they can call and what they can't call. And that's unfortunate, but I think it's the reality of the situation in the league now.
Don't get started on officiating. Because we're going to have to get into this dastardly conversation. Well, they're going to call it so that LeBron gets calls at home.
Yeah, I'm not here for that today.
No, I'm not here for that, man. I'm not here for that, man. You know. Derek Roche gives us $5 to ask, how many picks does it take till you get to the center Victor Wembanyama? Never mind that he's not a center. You guys realize that Victor Wembanyama is on the record saying, I will not play center.
Victor's the way.
He truly, and he'll tell you he wants to be a 3.
Yeah, well, he's going to figure out real quick he's way too slow to be a 3.
The thing that guys like him don't think about, you got to defend. I understand that offensively you want to ball handle and, hey, man, look at me shoot 29% from 3 in a foreign country.
I still, that's my favorite thing about Victor so far. Everyone thinks, oh, he can shoot the 3. He's shooting 29%, dude.
In France, where they don't play defense. And then he wants to be a 3 in the NBA. He's a project, dude. I don't think he sucks. I don't think he's a bust. But he's a project.
Ceiling is super high.
And I think it would be 169 million or the most picks allowed. It would take a truckload. It would take a truckload.
Yeah.
It would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. C. Kaufman, that's why I love college basketball more right now. College basketball Regular
know,
season
dude.
college basketball is unwatchable.
It's dreadful, dude.
It is unwatchable.
I can't do, 30-second shot clocks? Can't do it.
Yeah. Jeremy Callahan. James Harden would have even half the free throws in his career if he played 20 years ago. He wouldn't. He'd be a different player, though. He'd be a different player. Fat Jesus. The Suns need to pay Chris Paul to just play the last half of the season so it reduces his ability to get hurt. Jesus. Dude. Look, Fatty, you're not even wrong. If Chris Paul were ever healthy, if his groin ever held up in the
terrible.
playoffs, how many championships do they win if Chris Paul's groin wasn't on the floor in Houston?
Many.
I'm serious. I think they win 3 championships if he hadn't broken down physically. Water's wet and Chris Paul's hurt in the playoffs.
Yeah.
From broken hands 2 years ago,
Yeah, dude.
you're exactly right. Jesus, it's so frustrating. Books should have championships already. Yes, Cougar Tracks, hand checking is part of the game. I already read that one. Let's see. K. Nurin, LeBron equals NBA best flop. What? I don't understand this. Why do you guys hate LeBron? You don't even have to like him, but K, every single day, you're anti-LeBron. Like the guy put up a 40-point triple-double with a torn ligament in his foot. He is the all-time leading scorer in every segment of the season. Ever. I just don't understand this whole thing where I'm not a LeBron guy. I grew up a Michael Jordan fan, but at some point you have to come around to the fact that the guy is the greatest player of his generation.
Facts.
And this
Not
whole
in
thing where
dispute.
he's a flopper, Kay, who's your favorite player? Because he's a flopper. If you're in today's NBA and you are not flopping, you're
You're an idiot.
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
Because they're blowing the whistle. They're blowing. So wait, Austin Reaves, Chris Paul, James Harden,
Austin
name all.
Reaves learned how to flop, dude.
Devin Booker, Damian Lillard. You name all of the best scorers in the NBA. I guarantee you they're floppers.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't you be? Why wouldn't you be? Nikola Jokic is absolutely a flopper. Joel Embiid, absolutely a flopper. Why wouldn't you be? Luka Doncic doesn't flop?
Please.
Come on.
Please.
It's amazing to me the outright lack of respect for LeBron James. GMAX says college is better. College basketball is dreadful for most of the season.
Yeah.
Tournament's
better.
See Kentucky. You can't have programs anymore because guys are there a year and then they're in the NBA.
Yep.
Bronny's going to be at USC 1 year. Do you learn a system in 1 year? Do you learn a system in 1 year?
No.
I don't think you do. I think there are things that you can learn. You can learn in a year that BBQ Pit Stop is the single greatest barbecue equipment company in the country. You know that. It takes 5 minutes. That doesn't take a year.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're in the great state of Utah and you go to any of their stores in Logan, Layton, Lehigh, Payson, St. George, Murray on State Street across from the mall, you already know the people are phenomenal.
Yep.
They're barbecue experts. They're smoking experts. They are equipment experts, right? And they're all individually owned and operated. They're entrepreneurs. It's just a great place to do business. But then you get into the Asado seasoning at BBQ Pit Stop. It's over.
Bomb.
You're going to put Asado seasoning in your scrambled eggs. You're going to put Asado seasoning in your pasta sauce, on your wings, your steaks, your chops, your brisket. It goes on everything. You can get it at bbqpitstop.com, right? Because you can shop online. You know what else you can do at bbqpitstop.com? You can say, hey, how long do I cook a pizza on my Traeger smoker? Hey, what kind of smoker should I buy? Is smoking complicated? Because everybody thinks running a smoker is science. Bro, plug it in, put some pellets in the hopper, and hit ignite.
Facts.
You are now a smoker.